Tamron's Top 5.
Hello, everyone, and thanks for watching. Today, we will go over my 5 favorite photos, and I will explain to you why I chose these photos as my favorites, talk about the creative process, and hopefully give you some interesting pointers along the way. My name is Damion. I'm a technical representative with Tamron. I've had the pleasure of traveling around the country and meeting a lot of great people and also taking some great photos along the way. In my top 5, I have runner ups. And the runner up for this particular number 5 is this guy. This one was my first time taking a crack at shooting wildlife in Ohio. That's right, I did say Ohio. This was for the Keep On Clicking tour at a wildlife safari just outside of Columbus. This one is a runner up because for me, at the time, it was a very exciting time period. I was new to the team. This was a fresh experience for me. So I was really, really happy to be able to get a shot. I like this photo because the zebra pattern against the green grass really pops. In post-processing, I did just a little bit of editing. I adjusted the vibrance a little bit just to make that stand out a little bit more. But all in all, this was chosen as a runner-up. My number 5 favorite would be this one, taken in Miami. This was my first time in Miami. I had been dying to get to Miami. I love the beach. I love the weather. I love the food. So this was just perfect for me, and I was in my element. At the beach, as I'm walking along the beach, I see these colorful lifeguard stations, and I just thought that they were very picturesque. This one, I love the fluffy white clouds. Also, the color combination of the purple and the orange. And you can also see a rainbow to the slight left of the lifeguard station. But for me, this one was chosen as my favorite number 5 because all of the elements pretty much just came together. For me, as far as location, um, element as well. So this was pretty much my number 5. Number 4, I have a couple of runner-ups. The first one on the left is a bird, of course. Then to the right, we have the wolf. To the left, the bird was taken in Florida at an event with one of our image masters, David Akubian. And if you ever tried shooting birds, you would know that it's not an easy task. So I'm kind of proud of myself that I was able to get a sharp shot with this one. These two are crops. I cropped them out because of the fact that some of the other information was just a little bit distracting. So I thought just honing in on these two in this type of way was more effective. The wolf on the right was taken at Lakota Wolf Preserve at a workshop run by one of our sales reps, Patty. She runs the workshop every year. And this particular event, I was actually kind of sick, so I wasn't really able to shoot as much as I would have wanted to. So I'm actually kind of happy that I was able to get this shot of the wolf. This is also a runner-up as well. Same thing like I said before, I love Miami. Everything just pretty much came together pretty well. I like the human element of this one with the surfboard, um, but it's pretty much the same concept as my number 5 photo. But this one was a runner-up actually. My favorite photo, number 4. So this one was taken at Yellowstone. Never been to Yellowstone National Park before, and this was my first time. So it was a very majestic experience. I'm happy to have gone there. This was taken at the turquoise pool. I do remember the morning being very, very cold. Um, this is by the Grand Prismatic Springs. This is one of my favorite photos because I do like to underexpose. I like silhouettes. Um, I like shooting towards the sun. I know that's a rule that you're not supposed to do, but I like shooting towards the sun sometimes. Um, but this one, I think the steam coming off the pool makes it for a very dramatic scene, along with the underexposing and the sunburst. So this was actually a really cool photo for me because of the few reasons of me being there for the first time and the combination of my photography style. Now, for number 3, I have some runner-ups. This one was done at Acadia National Park. For this one, I really love the colors. This was my first experience as well, shooting at Acadia National Park. This was during sunrise. Like I said, mostly what I really, really like about the photo is the colors and the experience that I actually had at that time. This is another runner-up. This photo is my favorite of her. One of the models we've used at one of our events. Actually, how the photo started is we were shooting directly in front of her, but I kind of just stepped over to the side and I actually felt as though it was a better angle. I like this photo because I think it captures her essence, captures her and who she is in that moment. This one, I also like the shadows on the face. I like to kind of carve out shadows sometimes when I take my photographs. This next one is another model at Portrait Masters. She was at a booth and she just kept posing differently, had all these different expressions. She was really great and drew a lot of attention towards the booth. She definitely drew my attention at that moment. Um, and what I like about this one also is the expression on her face. Caught her mid-pose, so to say. And again, I think this captures her essence. And as you can see, everything is evenly lit on this particular shot, but this still captures her essence. This one I just threw in because it was shot with the 180 millimeter lens, which is one of my favorite lenses. Also, this was taken, I want to say maybe 2014, a long time ago, maybe 2015. But again, I like the compression of the 180. I like a few things about that. So this is why this is one of my favorites, but it's not the number 3. My number 3 favorite is going to be this one. I'm not a wildlife shooter too much. I'm not a landscape shooter. I do prefer shooting people, but in this particular instance, capturing this bird, and I know it's just a gracken, very noisy gracken, but the color combination, the composition and everything for me was just very exciting to be able to pull this off and capture the image. So this one is my favorite. Now we have some runner-ups in the number 2 position. This was at Shutterfest. This one again, it's all about the moment, capturing the essence of the model or subject. This one is pretty much natural light done at the Arches in St. Louis. And like I said, this was pretty much just capturing the essence. And I like the composition of this photo. I like the reflection behind her. So that added a really cool element to the photo. Again, capturing some of these essence, I love this photo because I was able to capture her smile. I love the shadows. And I love that, again, it's just being in that moment and catching that moment. This one was actually also going to be number two, but I had to really think about it. This one is one of my favorite because it actually started out differently. I actually started out shooting this, and as I was shooting, this little kid was running back and forth in my shot. And I'm getting upset, I'm getting frustrated, I'm saying to myself, would somebody please get this little boy? But I reviewed a couple of photos and I thought to myself, wait a minute, that would be a really cool element to add. It reminded me of being a child and running on the beach playing with my friends or my cousins and whatnot. So I definitely felt something in the moment to, or as a reason to keep this photo. It reminded me of a certain joy or satisfaction that you would have, and he seemed completely satisfied playing by himself. Again, I like to underexpose. I like to shoot towards the sun. I like to do a lot of things. So this is one of the reasons why this was one of my photos, my favorite photos. And I was in California. That's another place that I had been trying or dying to get to for a while. But my favorite number two photo is this one. So this one, just a plain, simple, straightforward photo with a model. It's my favorite because I love the lines that she created with her body. Um, I also have this photo in black and white, but I do think the color looks much better. This was done at Project Lunacy out in Las Vegas. Um, like I said, mainly I really love the lines. I love the subject in the foreground, as well as the mountains in the background. It all just came together in this particular shot. Now we have the runner-ups for photo number one. So this particular series was done with a model by the name of Heather. She's a great model. Um, to the left, we have it's like a bluish background, which was chosen by Janet, one of my coworkers. Janet also helped with the styling of the model, and it all came together so well. I didn't actually like the background at first, but seeing it against the copper colored dress really, really, really made it pop. A lot of people were coming over to the booth, and one of the patrons decided to have the model do like all these masculine poses, which I thought was great because I think she has that long, lengthy body, and she had full control over it. And it started to build from there. She started out on the floor with the model, but then at some point in time, she started standing up and sitting on a stool and etc. etc. This particular shot, I think, was definitely a more masculine pose because I do like the A framing of the body. And I'll just show you another one in a few. But after the masculine posing, I kind of wanted her to do something a little more feminine. So we kind of did this. Now, the reason why I have color on one side and black on the other is because for me, when it comes to post processing, I tend to get lost when I have a lot of color. I tend to over process or just do way too many things. So one of the first things that I always do is I see what it will look like in black and white. From there, I can then determine if I would prefer a color image. In this particular scene, with the lighting and everything, or I should say series, with the lighting and everything, I think the black and white actually pops a little bit more. But nonetheless, like I said, she started doing a series of more feminine posing. And this one was very exaggerated with the body. I even didn't mind having the shadows on the ground because I kind of like that whole effect. It's lit with two LED lights, and we're gonna go to my favorite number one. Ta-da! I like this one because I just think the whole black and white, her posing, the lighting, it all just comes together and makes one great photo. So, there we have it, my top five. Hopefully, you understand me as a photographer now, and hopefully, that inspires you to keep out there shooting. Hopefully, you also enjoyed what you watched. Thank you for attending. Please follow me, Tamron Damion, on Instagram and at Tamron Damion on Facebook. If you have any questions or comments, I'd love to hear from you. Thank you. Have a good day.